Welcome to your dose of Single Sundays. That's right, we're here for some Single Sunday action where we're going to be giving your dose of Single Sundays. What is Single Sundays? Well, that goes over the single issues that we ended up picking up from our local comic book shop. And where we end up going to our local comic book shop, having a poll, ended up pulling these books that we ended up having an interest. And if you are interested in doing that, that's where you end up making sure that you get every issue that you're wanting with the cover, well, most of the time that you end up wanting. So with that said, let's dive in and give you your dose of Single Sundays. So what we got over this way, we skipped last week, so you know what that means? That means we have a blast from the past going on this week. So the blast from the past, we're going to start right off the get-go, is with Batman issue number 12. I believe this is Matt Fraction, Jimenez on art, and we end up getting an establishment of a new partner in crime for Batman. That's right, Alfred ended up going over and having some kind of event that happened with it. But as Alfred is like Batman, he ends up making sure that he's equipped properly with a replacement. Definitely something to be picking up, especially if you're curious about that. It's a solid story, and it has a couple stories that really puts this person as the focus of the new Pennyworth for Batman. Number 2 is going to be Captain America by Chip Zdarsky and Lima? But Captain America issue number 14. Solid story. We got more development that went on with this story, where we ended up having Dr. Doom and Captain America working together to get a certain weapon from the hellscape with Mephisto, and also rallying some troops to be able to deal with that. It's an alright story, solid go up. So, Captain America, issue number 14. Final blast from the past, it is going to be Mark Spector, Moon Knight, issue number 7. What's so fancy about this? Well, we have the Midnight Suns, you have Ghost Rider, Daredevil, among others that's going to be involved with a big twist that we have at the end. What's that twist? Well, you have to pick this guy up to be able to find out what that twist was. I would say this is probably one of the better issues that I've read of Moon Knight, and that's why it's probably the top pick of the blast from the past. So, we did our Back to the Future thing. We went to the past. We're back to the present. What does that mean? That means we go to your dose of Single Sundays. That means we cover the single issues that we have that came out this week. So, coming at, well, 1, 2, 3, 4. That means the top 4. So, coming in at number 4, it is going to be Jeff the Land Shark Superstars by Kelly Thompson. And I'm not even going to try saying that name because I am going to butcher it. So this ends up having a bunch of characters that they have mixed together and some shenanigans that goes along with that. It also ends up having an interesting situation with the thing with a symbiote that's in the backup story. Solid book, solid story that we end up having. But like I said, it's Jeff is always that more fun, guilty pleasure of a book that you can end up having. Coming in at number 3 is going to be Absolute Batman, issue number 23. We end up having a mirror copy of Batman. How has it come? What is it doing? What happened with the Robins? Do they ever get that pizza pie? Well, if you're curious about all that, you got to check this book out. Good story. I keep on saying solid story as well. And to be honest with you, this is a week of solid stories, so maybe I could stop saying that. Well, we'll end up finding out. Definitely a good pickup. Definitely wondering what the mix is going to end up being, and looking forward to the next issue of Absolute Batman. Coming in at number 2. I'm kind of surprised it's on my poll list still, but that's not because of the story or anything. But honestly, I was originally planning on dropping the story, because it ended up once Daniel and Johnson ended up believing the story. But I'm glad I kept on going because Kirkman's been doing an all right job with Transformers. This is issue number 35. Jason Howard, Mike Spicer on colors, and, well, Kirkman on writing the story. So what we ended up having, we have a fallout. So we end up having a Combiner Con that ends up going down. Is it on the Autobot side or is it on the Decepticon side? Well, that's a good question. But we also have a critical injured bot on the case, getting revived or repaired by a human-ish person? What the heck? Wheeljack, help us out. Stat. Definitely a fun read that comes over with it. Has a bunch of drama, has some ramifications, has some loose threads that's going to be set up to be hopefully weaved together. Transformers, issue number 35. Final book. Let's talk about this. This ended up having a wrap up for a series. And as you know, I have a love affair that goes along with this. And it ends up wrapping up the series. And, well, I believe this is also one of the last issues for the writer to be on this story. So what is this? This is Thundercats X Silverhawks. I got a couple more videos. I'm going to have to do that. But I'm glad that's coming toward an end. But this is issue number 5. This is the final issue of that event that goes on. What we end up having is an answer to all the questions, and all the wrap-up is going to be going on with there. There's still some loose threads that we're going to end up seeing. There's a few more issues coming out of the entire event that's going on. But this, we end up finding out what takes on the Darkhawk and how they ended up going over with that. We end up seeing what the results are with Bengali. We end up seeing the results from the people from Thundercats Lost, making it into this issue. And then we also end up seeing what happens when Thundercats and Silverhawks team up. This is that issue that comes over with it, and that's why I had to make this the number 1 issue of this week. That's right. Thundercats X Silverhawks, issue number 5, with the team of Declan Shelby and Drew Moss on art. It's a stellar issue to be able to dive in, to be able to pick up. So that is your dose of Single Sundays. There we go. That's a nice little dosing. I can't wait to see you next week. Or I can't wait to see you next Sunday for your dose of Single Sundays. Until next time, we'll see you later. Oh, and thank you for watching. And until next time, we'll see you later.